Today we are going to see how to draw the T.S of Dicot Root. The outermost layer is made up of parenchyma cells. So in the parenchyma cells, as it is root, we have unicellular root hairs. We can draw how much number of root hairs possible. And this layer is double layered. This double layered layer can be called as epiblema, epidermis, or piliferous layer. Right? So next, before going into the inner structure, let us draw the vascular bundle. So when you look vascular bundle, just like how we drew the outermost layer, the same type of cells we have to draw in a circle. To draw this circle, you need not use any compass or rounded body because it is not a mathematical circle or physical circle. It is a biological circle. We know that the biological structures are not getting the exact mathematical structures. So, in a round, you have to draw cells like this. This layer we call it as endodermis, and this inner to this endodermis we will have another one layer. It's like similar type of cells. This layer we call it as pericycle. Now, we have drawn endodermis and pericycle. Now, let us draw the xylem. When you are drawing for the root, the biggest xylem, that is the metaxylem, will be in the center, and when we go towards the periphery, the size of the cell becomes smaller, and the smallest cell we call it as protoxylem. And in the root, there will be four vascular bundles, four bundles of xylem like this. This situation we call it as tetrach. And we find the metaxylem in the center and protoxylem towards the end. Such type of arrangement we call it as exarch. And the xylem is a double layered structure, so you have to draw like this. Now, in between this xylem, we will have the phloem. Now look here, xylem is in one radius and phloem is in another radius. Such type of arrangement we call it as radial vascular bundle. So in between xylem, we have to draw small cells. These cells represent the phloem. when we take the younger stem, in between the xylem, few area may be remaining, that is considered as pith. But in older root, this pith is absent. Right? Now, so we have drawn the xylem and the phloem. Now, space is remaining. This space area, we have to fill it with parenchyma cells. This layer is called as conjunctive tissue. So, vascular bundle, we have the xylem, phloem, and between the xylem and phloem, we have the conjunctive tissue. So, by drawing all this, we have completed the structure which is present inside the vascular bundle. So, the vascular bundle represents like this. Now, we find space between the piliferous layer and the vascular bundle. That complete layer, we call it as cortex. So, to make the drawing neat, we can represent like this by drawing dotted lines. Now, the cortex is also made up of parenchyma cells. Now, you may get a doubt. Inside the vascular bundle, I was drawing parenchyma cells in different structure, and here it comes in different shape. Parenchyma cells can be of different shapes. It can be spherical, polygonal, rectangular, oval, or any shapes it can be. So, you can draw the cells of parenchyma in different way. But in the cortex region, more or less, it will be spherical in shape. That is why I am drawing the cells in spherical shape. While drawing, you have to be cautious that the cells should not overlap, because it is a living component. There is no chance of overlapping. And another thing to be reminded is, when you draw a circle, it should start and it should end in the same area. Otherwise, it gives the impression that the cells have been broken. And here in the parenchyma cells, you can find spaces in between. That is the character of the cortex. So, just all the remaining area, you have to fill it with this parenchyma cells. Drawing of this diagram, it's not difficult, but it takes little time. That's the only thing, comparing with other diagrams. You have to be patient enough to draw this diagram. That's the only thing. So whatever space is remaining, everywhere you have to fill it with cells. So just to complete this diagram, I have to spend. So drawing this diagram, if you are practicing, at the initial stage you may take more time. When you go for practice, I have got experience. Children completed drawing this picture even within 3 or 4 minutes. So I think so you people also, when you get into practice, you can finish it very fast. And I am doing it very slowly, as everyone needs to understand. This structure is presented with explanation in YouTube. So now we are nearing to the end of the diagram. So just if you see the root, it is a round structure, but we have taken a small portion of the round. So what I am drawing here, the cortex, is the continuation of the whole round like this, right? So now within a minute I'll be completing the diagram, and we'll be going for the labeling of the parts, because biological diagrams along with structure labeling is also a must. Now let us label the diagrams. So the first structure is the root hair, right? Now several layers of cortex. The outermost round layer, we call it as endodermis. The same way, outer layer also diagram is there, that we call it as piliferous layer. Now look here. This on endodermis, the radial walls where you find the xylem, that area, the radial walls will be thick, right? All the radial walls has to be thickened. But the other areas, the inner transverse wall also will be thick. But where you find the xylem, this wall won't be thick. Right? This thick portion, we call it as Casparian strip. Right? Now, this portion, we call it as xylem. This is phloem. Now, inner to the endodermis, we have drawn a layer of cell that we call it as pericycle. Now, this is the structure of Dicot root in transverse section. எவ்வளோ வந்தது?